For just like the trees to come fulfill their desires for everyone, and they are full of compassion.
Hare Krishna. Yesterday afternoon, I got a text from a devotee saying, I can't give class tomorrow. So here I am. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Pra Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavarikacharya Satarasada Shishi Manas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prams Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Siddhi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navdeep Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi All glories and assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So we're starting a new chapter today, It's chapter 63 of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it's entitled Lord Krishna Fights with Banasura. It is actually a continuation of chapter 62. The two chapters work as one unit, but this chapter, there's some very notable differences, as we'll see later in the chapter when we hear wonderful prayers by Shiva Dwara and also by Lord Shiva himself, glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is also a chapter, like the last chapter, full of lots of action, as we heard Bir Krishna Maharaj reading from Hari Vamsa yesterday. There's a lot of activity. The Kshatriyas live lives which are not dull by any means. They are always active, and sometimes by modern terms, shocking activities. We'll read the summary here before I read the first verse, just to get an overview, and I'm going to make a few remarks just about the construction of the chapter. So, chapter summary. This chapter describes the battle between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva, as well as Shiva's glorification of Krishna after the Lord had cut off Banasura's arms. Just remember that Banasura in the last chapter wanted somebody he could fight with, and he certainly meets his match here. When Aniruddha did not return from Shonitapura, his family and friends passed the 4 months of the rainy season in extreme distress. When they finally heard from Narada Muni how Aniruddha had been captured, a large army of the best Yadava warriors under Krishna's protection set off for Banasura's capital and laid siege to it. Banasura fiercely opposed them with his own army of equal size. To help Banasura, Lord Shiva, accompanied by Kartikeya and a horde of mystic sages, took up arms against Balaram and Krishna. Bana began fighting against Satyaki, and Bana's son fought against Samba. All the demigods assembled in the sky to witness the battle. With his arrows, Lord Krishna harassed the followers of Lord Shiva, and by putting Lord Shiva into a state of confusion, he was able to destroy Banasura's army. Kartikeya was so strongly beaten by Pradyumna that he fled the battlefield, while the remnants of Banasura's army, harried by the blows of Lord Balaram's club, scattered in all directions. Enraged to see his army's destruction, Banasura rushed Krishna to attack him. But the Lord immediately killed Bana's chariot driver and broke his chariot and bow, and then sounded his Panchajanya conch shell. Next, Banasura's mother, trying to save her son, appeared naked in front of Lord Krishna, who averted his face to avoid looking at her. Seeing his chance, Bana fled his city. I mean, this is a rather interesting scene. It's like, like Krishna, I'm looking away, and then Bana can sneak away. Well, not really, but Krishna's playing, along here for Leela. It's not that anything, Krishna doesn't miss anything, but Banasura, as many demons, they're thinking that somehow or other, I'm pulling something over Krishna. After Lord Krishna had thoroughly defeated the ghosts and hobgoblins fighting under Lord Shiva, the Shiva Dwara weapon, a personification of fever with 3 heads and 3 legs, approached Lord Krishna to fight him. Seeing the Shiva Dwara, Krishna released his Vishnu Dwara. And in the Krishna book, it's called the Narayana Dwara, same thing. And it should be mentioned, that's not mentioned here, that the Vishnu Dwara is super cold. So it's super cold against super hot here, and Lord Shiva's weapon is overwhelmed. The Shiva Dwara was overwhelmed by the Vishnu Dwara, having nowhere else to turn for shelter. The Shiva Dwara began to address Lord Krishna, glorifying him and asking for mercy. Lord Krishna was pleased with Shiva Jwara, and after the Lord had promised him freedom from fear, the Shiva Jwara bowed down to him and departed. Back to Banasura. Next, Banasura returned and attacked Lord Sri Krishna again, wielding all kinds of weapons in his 1,000 hands. But Lord Krishna took his Sudarshan disc and began cutting off the demon's arms. And began cutting off the demon's arms. Lord Shiva approached Krishna to pray for Banasura's life, and when the Lord agreed to spare him, he spoke as follows to Shiva. Banasura does not deserve to die, since he was born in the family of Prahlad Maharaj. I have severed all but 4 of Bana's arms just to destroy his false pride, and I have annihilated his army because they were a burden to the earth. Henceforward, he will be free from old age and death, and remaining fearless in all circumstances, he will be one of your principal attendants. I mean, it should be noted at the beginning in chapter 62 that Banasura had all good qualities in the sense that he was serving Lord Shiva very nicely. He just had this huge ego that, he wanted to go around beating people with his arms, and no one would stick around to even entertain him because he was going to win. And it's interesting to note that Krishna, he with his Sudarshan disc used, this is like very expert surgery, because he cuts all the arms off, but it doesn't leave him deformed or anything. In fact, probably looks better without having 500 arms on each side. So, in any case, Bana is now, he comes in a good family, even though he's a demon. So Krishna benefits him here, or benedicts him, with to be free from old age and death, and to remain fearless, and he'll be a servant of Lord Shiva, one of his most principal attendants. Assured that he had nothing to fear, Banasura then offered his obeisances to Lord Krishna, and had Usha and Aniruddha seated on their wedding chariot and brought before the Lord. Krishna then set off for Dwarka, with Aniruddha and his bride leading the procession. When the newlyweds arrived at Lord Krishna's capital, they were honored by the citizens, the Lord's relatives, and the brahmanas. So all's well that ends well, because this was an unusual turn of events. And we see here from this chapter that Banasura, he never gives up his desire to somehow fight someone who can defeat him. And finally, when he meets his end, I mean, not his end, but finally when he's defeated, because he's pious, in most cases, he's worshiping Lord Shiva very nicely. Lord Shiva, he, as his benefactor, prays to Lord Krishna, please don't kill Banasura, and Krishna then benedicts him. So this is the process of Krishna consciousness, is getting the mercy of the devotee so that we get the mercy of Krishna. So I'm going to read now from text number 1. Sri Shukuvacha Apashyatam Chani Rudam Tad Bandunam Cha Bharata Chatvaro Varshika Masa Vyatiyor Anishoshatam Sri Shukuvacha Apashyatam Chani Rudam Tadbadunam cha bharata Chatvaro Varshika Masa Vyatiyor Anushoshatam Apashyatam Chani Rudam Tadbandunam cha bharata. Chatvaro varshika masa. Vitiyor anushoshatam. Rishuko vacha. Kashatam chani unudam. Chabandunam chabarata. Aram. Oranashadam. Sri Shukavacha. Gashatam chani rudam. Katnunam chabarata. Tatvaro chatvikarasa. Vatiyor anushoshatam. Sri Shukavacha. Pashyatam chani rudam. Bharata. Chatvaro varshika masa. Vyatiyor anushoshatam. Sri Shukavacha. Apashyatam chani rudam. Tatvandunam chabarata. Chatvaro varshika masa. Vyatiyor anushoshatam. Sri Shukavacha. Shukadev Goswami said, Apashyatam, who did not see, cha, and, anirudam, aniruda, tat, his, bandunam, for the relatives, cha, and, bharata, O descendant of Bharata, Parikshit Maharaj, Chatvara, 4, Varshika, of the rainy season, Masa, the months, Vyatiyu, past, Anushoshatam, who were lamenting. Translation by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Shukadev Goswami said, O descendant of Bharata, the relatives of Aniruddha, not seeing him return, continued to lament as the 4 rainy months passed. Please repeat. Shukadev Goswami said, O descendant of Bharata, the relatives of Aniruddha, not seeing him return, continued to lament as the 4 rainy months passed. No commentary by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, but we can read the commentary of the previous acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, in the 63rd chapter, Krishna defeats Dwara and Rudra, is praised by them, then cuts off the arms of Banasura and returns to Dwarka with Aniruddha. Starting from the month of Jeshta, Aniruddha disappeared for 6 months. Even the 4 months of the monsoon season passed, and he had not returned. Jiva Goswami writes, the word cha means but. This indicates a change of subject. So we're changing the subject here. We're kind of moving away from that last chapter, which was romantic and it was like young love, a meeting in secret behind Banasura's back, and we're moving to a resolution of the original problem that Banasura had, which was he wanted someone to fight with him. The word cha means but. This indicates a change of subject. All the yadus and their male and female servants continually lamented. 4 months of the monsoon completely passed. This means it was now Margashirsha, December. After Usha's dream, which occurred on the Dwadashi during the waxing phase of Vaishakha month, Aniruddha was brought to her on the first days of Jeshta month, according to Chitraleka's words in Harivamsha. Sapta ratena te biru darshaya yishyam ham priyam. I will show you your beloved in 7 nights' time. 6 months passed, including even 4 months of the monsoon. The first cha can also mean and the 4 months of the monsoon passed. Thus, the Yadus began to worry more. O best of the Bharata clan, you were born in the Pandava family. You know that the pastimes of the Lord do not go in vain. Sanatana Goswami's Tika is almost the same except for the last paragraph. So I'll just read the last paragraph of his Tika. Or according to Shukadev, the abduction took place at the beginning of the monsoon. Shukadev addresses Parikshit with amazement, since in spite of the presence of the Lord, the Yadus did not know the whereabouts of Aniruddha. Or it is similar to their activities while being seemingly ignorant of Abhimanyu's fall during the Kurukshetra war. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastai Bhutale Shumati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharni Nirasesa Sunyavadi Prashachadeshtarni Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhabhya Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Inconceivable things happen within Lord Krishna's pastimes, and they don't seem to make sense really if you're like a religionist coming from an outside perspective, looking at the Bhagavatam. How is it that, God turns away when he sees a naked woman and the person he is fighting sneaks away as if, God missed something? Or how is it that the Yadus, who are his family, can be in ignorance of where Aniruddha is, and later on it's compared to Abhimanyu's fall in the Kurukshetra war when seemingly they were unable to understand what was happening or protect Abhimanyu. The Lord's pastimes are inconceivable, and they break all the rules of what God should know or not know. He doesn't know when he doesn't want to know or need to know, or it would be no fun if he knew. The whole story of Lord Ramachandra is a story of searching, lamentation, acting against. Why would you do this? Some of the things that Lord Ram did. I'm God, forget it. I'm not going to bother, exiling my wife just because some stupid washerman has said something. I'll cover everybody over, and they'll forget him, I'll eliminate him, and I'll be with my wife. No, he doesn't do that. And he acts in a way in which there's a lot of pathos there, or, it's drama. So it would be very boring if everything was just simply already known, and Krishna just did everything he wanted. There'd be no interesting pastimes. There'd be no exchanges with his devotees that are real. When one is in Shantaras, that is just simply a sort of awe and veneration of the absolute super supermost God. And it's, let's say, especially if one is in Vaikuntha, it's an awe and reverence. It's sort of like a relationship one finds in some monotheistic religions. It's better because at least there's some understanding who God is. But God's this force or some power far away, and you better be good because he knows everything and you don't, and he could hurt you. But love means that there has to be exchange, and so these exchanges, they're occurring because Krishna is planning for all this. And everyone who's involved in this Leela is having a good time, even when it doesn't appear. I mean, it wouldn't appear that fighting with someone and having most of your arms chopped off would be very nice. But for Banasura, because he's engaged in Krishna's Leela, ultimately, it's all good. And in fact, he gets the benediction. He won't get old. He's always going to be protected by Lord Shiva. He's going to be one of Lord Shiva's prominent servitors. Lord Shiva, of course, is a great personality. He's eternal. He's always living without any sorts of the material inebrities of life becoming a problem. So we see this in these pastimes, and these pastimes are meant to help us actually awaken our love for the Supreme Lord. And they have the power to do so because Krishna, through his pure devotee, has empowered these pastimes to cleanse our hearts. We were talking yesterday, about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. We're reading Uddhava Gita with our group, and it can be seen that that for many quote Vaishnavas, they're really Vaishnavas. They don't have the highest understanding that somehow or other we've been given. In other words, they don't really know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because they're worshiping Vishnu, they're worshiping in awe and reverence, they're worshiping in a way which is it illustrates how to approach God. But for us, we've been given the very, very great privilege of being able to approach Shri Radha Golokananda. And we can do that because Srila Prabhupada, as the representative of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, have given us this most perfect Krishna Vrindavan mood of prem. Well, we don't have the prem yet, but we're fortunate enough to fall in the line of those who have that prem, and they can give us that love if we're ready to accept it. So there was an interesting sentence in Jiva Goswami's commentary. It's the last sentence. He says, "You know that the pastimes of the Lord do not go in vain." So every pastime of the Lord has a purpose, and it's not just one purpose, but many purposes. It's the purposes to, paritranaya sadhunam vinaschayastkaduskratam, defeat the demons, protect the devotees, and protecting the devotees within the pastime, of course, is to please them by a loving relationship, and to defeat the demons, who have to be special people if they're in Krishna's pastime. But it's also to instruct us on how to understand our relationship with Krishna and how we can ultimately really understand and know Krishna as he is in Goloka Vrindavan. So to that end, I looked up some quotes that Srila Prabhupada makes based on the phrase, "We'll never go in vain." And it's interesting some of the things that Srila Prabhupada says, because Srila Prabhupada from the very beginning was emphasizing to all of us that we can become successful in Krishna consciousness as long as we follow him, the pure devotee, by hearing about Krishna. So here's a lecture in 1973 in London. It's on the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 39. Krishna is within everyone's heart. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridarshe arjuna tishtati. So, he can be understood whether you are sincerely serving or with some motive you are serving. Even with some motive you serve Krishna, it will never go in vain. Krishna is so kind, just like Putana. Putana wanted to serve Krishna by feeding Krishna with her breast, but the purpose was the breast was poisoned, so Krishna would suck the milk and he would die. There is a different motive, but still, Krishna is so kind that he thought that this rascal Putana, she wanted to kill me, but she does not know that I am not a person to be killed. But still, although the motive was to kill me, but she has served me to suck her breast. I have drunk her milk, so she is my mother. So she is my mother. Never mind, she came with a motive. So people come to Krishna for different motives. Here it's said, and we know the verse that akamo savakamo va mokshakamo udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. That whether we have motives for enjoying this material world, or we have the motive of becoming liberated, or we have no motives, whatever, and the no motives would be anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhyanavartam, pure devotion. But whatever we do, if we come to Krishna somehow or other, and in my case, I came to Krishna because Prabhupada was so merciful, he sent out devotees everywhere, and I could never avoid them everywhere I went for years. And I would always resist until I couldn't resist. That was Tamal Krishna Maharaj's mercy. No one can resist Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Vishnu Jan Maharaj. With your the next verse. This is New York, early class, April 1966. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 49 to 51. Let us, and this is very interesting, it's an early class. Prabhupada's early classes are real sambandha classes, establishing a relationship. Later on, Prabhupada's classes became more abhideya. In other words, how are you going to, practice Krishna consciousness? But this is a real establish your relationship verse of commentary. Let us remain in our position. But at the same time, simultaneously, side by side, let us have spiritual culture. Just like we are holding this class. This is also spiritual culture. Shravanam Kirtanam. With your multifarious duties, you come here thrice in a week and try to understand. This is also spiritual culture. This will not go in vain. This will give you impression. Even you stop coming here, that impression will never go. I tell you that the impression will never go. It is such a thing. But if we take it up very seriously and go on molding our life in that way, then it becomes quickly successful. Samskara, Prabhupada's speaking of here. A samskara is an impression. It is, it's like a branding in the consciousness of some thought or some desire or some inclination. Like people have lots of material samskaras, an inclination to hear tamasic music, or an inclination to eat rajarsic food, or an inclination for, you can imagine, there's so many inclinations. But our inclinations our samskaras need to become samskaras that are transcendental, or inclinations to serve Krishna, inclinations to hear about from Krishna. And Prabhupada's saying that these samskaras are very strong. Just like in the old days when we used to have tapes, and you had a tape and you had something on it, you could re-record over the tape. So these samskaras record over the old tape. But the problem is that we play a little while and we leave a couple little parts of the old tape there. I like that one, so I'll keep it. But eventually, we have to keep getting more and more samskaras. And Prabhupada's saying here that even if you get a couple samskaras, it's going to ruin that original tape. It's going to be like, off we go into our enjoyment, and then all of a sudden, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And that will eventually overtake the rest of the tape. But he says we have to become serious. He says that you'll never lose anything, but if we take it up very seriously and go on molding our life in that way, then it becomes quickly successful. And in another class, Prabhupada speaks. This is from Bombay, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 11, in 1974. So take opportunity of this Krishna conscious movement. It is very, very easy, and anyone can take to it. You have seen that our process, chanting, this process is accepted even by a small child. He is also dancing. He's also chanting. Don't think that these things will go in vain. The small child who is dancing and chanting, it will be recorded in his history, another samskara. And as we know, the children, they're people who don't understand the real nature of life think that children are a blank slate. They're not a blank slate, but they are easily molded. So Prabhupada's saying that the small child who is dancing and chanting, it will be recorded in his history. Punji Buddha, Krita Punya Puja. This is called Agyata Sukriti. The center is open to give he's saying the center, but this center is open to give people a chance to hear about Krishna, to chant about Krishna, to see Krishna, to take prasadam of Krishna. This is what all our centers are for. So we request, take advantage of these facilities and be fully Krishna conscious and make your life successful. And another one, which is I find very interesting. Bombay, 1973, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, chapter 26. So here Krishna said, Anye tu ajanata shrutva, simply by hearing. If you hear from a realized person, of course, interestedly, seriously. So Prabhupada says, if you hear from a realized person, but you got to be interested. You're not interested just like, person comes here and they don't know anything and they hear a class and it goes in one ear and out the other. It may not even go into the ear at all. They may be completely unable to hear at all. But if you hear from a realized person, of course, interestedly, seriously, benefit, shrutva anebhya upasate, just like it is very natural, just like these children. They do not understand, or the children's father, anyone. They do not understand. But if they come here and simply hear the children, they are also chanting Hare Krishna. They are offering obeisances. They are offering a lamp. They are playing some instrument. All these things will never go in vain. It is being accounted. Again, these are samskaras. They're being accounted. This is called Agyata Sukriti. Sometimes we think Agyata Sukriti is just for those people out there, but Agyata Sukriti is also for us. We're getting sometimes benefit when we don't even know it. We don't even know it, but Krishna is benefiting us. We turn on a class that Prabhupada, a tape and a recorded lecture of Prabhupada in the morning, and it happens to just start at a place that we were thinking of before. Huh? How does that happen? Well, it happens because Prabhupada's everywhere, and these things are arranged. So that's a sort of a gyata sakriti. We didn't even plan on hearing that particular phrase, which really is important for us to hear at that moment of that time of the day. By doing this repeatedly, one day, you become a great devotee. It doesn't require studying all the Vedic literatures. Simply if one is accustomed to this practice of devotional service and hears the vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by hearing. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Kanvandam Aravindanalayataptam Bharhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham.
Gokula Ranjana Kana Yasomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Namala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Vipinan Purandaran Navinanagara Vora Vamsivadana Subasa Vipinam Purandara Vinanagara Bara Vamsivadana Subasa Vipinam Purandara Navinanagara Bara Vamsivadana Subasa Vipinam Purandara Navan Vamsivadana Vasa Brajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Jajana Palana Surakula Nashana Brajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Jajana Palana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godana Rakowala Nanda Godana Rakowala Nanda Godana Rakowala Nanda Godana Rakowala Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna Tatachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasa Rasika Kripa Moya 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 Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara 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 Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Bhakati Vinoda Shraya Yasomati Nandana Brajabaranagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Yasomati Dana Brajabara Nagara Yasunandanakana Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Amala Harinama Miya Vilasa Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Sri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinoda Shraya Bhakti Vinaya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Golokananda Radha Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Golokananda Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Radhe Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Golokananda Ki Jai. Lord Krishna is beloved son of Yashoda, transcendental lover in the land of Braj, the delight of Gokula, known by the nickname Kanna, the wealth of the lies of the gopis, the attractor of Cupid, and punisher of the serpent Kaliya. These pure holy names of Lord Hari are full of sweet nectarian pastimes. Lord of the 12 forests of Braj, ever youthful, the best of lovers, player of the flute, an excellent dresser, protector of the inhabitants of Braj, destroyer of demoniac dynasties, keeper and tender of Nanda's cows, giver of pleasure to cows, land, and spiritual senses, husband of the goddess of fortune, butter thief, and beautiful little cowherd boy of Nanda Maharaj, wanderer of the Yamuna riverbanks, thief of the garments of the gopis, enjoyer of the mellows of the rasa dance, very merciful, lover and beloved of Sri Radha, the great dancer of Vrindavan, and the only shelter of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. For the devotees who aren't going to be in Florida this weekend, for Sadhu Sangha, we're having 6-hour kirtan here on Saturday afternoon from 2 to 8, and then Harinam Sankirtan at Weaver Street Market on Memorial Day itself, that's Monday, from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. So there'll be some opportunities for chanting the Lord's sweet holy names together here in New Goloka Dham. Chaitodarpanam Marjanam Bhavanadrapinavanam Shreyakairam Yachandrikavitaranam Vidyavujivanam Anantamurivardanam Pratisam Pranamudaswadanam Sarvatma Sapanam Etadrishin tavakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrishami hajjanina nuraga trinadapi sunichena tarorapi suhishuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari nadanam najanam sundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janmani janmani ishvare Bhavatad bhaktir ahoitaki twai ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha kripayata vapada pankaja stita duli sadrashim vachintaya nainam gadashu daraya varanam gad garudaya gira pulakarnishitam vapukada tavanamagrahane bhavishyati yugayatam namishena Chakshusha pravashayatam Tarvam govindam virahename Ashlishava padamratam anastumam Adarshanam marmahata karotuva Yatatatava vidadatulam pato mat prananatastusa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh my Lord, the chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Sri Shastika Ki Jai.